We begin with French President Emmanuel Macron at the United Nations General Assembly. This afternoon, he is expected to formally recognize a Palestinian state. And it comes just a day after the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, and Portugal all came out in favor of Palestinian independence.
Also this morning, we have this new video out of London. A special ceremony marks the raising of the Palestinian flag at the Palestinian mission to the UK. Also new this morning, tens of thousands of protesters in Italy calling for a nationwide strike to support Palestinians in Gaza. They are also demanding that their government join other Western nations to recognize a Palestinian state. Let's get some analysis right now. Joining us now, Axios politics and foreign policy reporter Barak Ravid. He's also a CNN political and global affairs analyst. Barak, there's a lot of international momentum right now towards the recognition of a new Palestinian state. How is Israel, first of all, responding to this?
Hi, Wolf. I think Benjamin Netanyahu finds himself almost 2 years after October 7th, this horrible, horrific terrorist attack, more isolated than ever. And with Netanyahu, the entire country is more isolated than ever. And I think this is what we're going to see in the next few days at the UN General Assembly. You know, Netanyahu published his schedule for the UN General Assembly, and, you know, no offense to anybody, but his bilateral meetings are with the leaders of Serbia, Argentina, and Paraguay. I covered a lot of his trips in the past. His itinerary looked very different in the past, with many more leaders from more prominent countries. And I think it tells you a lot about where Israel is today.
It certainly does. How much concern is there, Barak, in Israel that the country is being increasingly isolated out there on the international stage?
I think there's a lot of concern. Netanyahu himself said it publicly. He said that Israel is undergoing isolation. He even said that Israel should be like Sparta. He called it Super Sparta, something that got the stock market in Tel Aviv to crash. And so I think a lot of people feel that way. I think Netanyahu is totally aware of the situation. But at the same time, one of the things that he's considering at the moment in retaliation to those recognitions of Palestine is to not take a step back, but to double down by annexing parts of the West Bank, something that will only increase the international pressure and criticism on Israel. Even the Trump administration is telling Netanyahu that this would be one step too far and is urging him not to do it.
How much pressure is Netanyahu under right now to take steps to free the remaining Israeli hostages in Gaza as the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, ramps up its military campaign in Gaza, especially Gaza City?
Well, there's only one person Benjamin Netanyahu cares about, and this is President Trump. The domestic pressure, the demonstrations, the tens of thousands of Israelis that are going to the streets to call for an end to the war and the release of the hostages, all of those, I mean, Netanyahu doesn't care about them. He cares about one person, and this is Donald Trump. And the interesting thing is that Donald Trump tomorrow is going to meet with the leaders of 6 Arab and Muslim countries and present to them, maybe for the first time since he's president, his ideas and his principles for ending the war in Gaza. And I think this could be a very meaningful meeting, especially that next Monday, Netanyahu himself will arrive in the Oval Office for his 4th meeting with Donald Trump since January. And he will also be presented with those principles and ideas. So I think that Donald Trump, you see, while publicly he's giving support to Netanyahu, I think what he's doing is try to find a way to end the war as soon as possible.
All right, Barak Ravid, thank you very, very much.
Shalom. Welcome to another video. And as always, before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachodash, and next double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of the Great Millstone who teach and who rule well, peace, blessings, and safety. To all you sincere Akim, keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless of whether people hear or whether they forbear. All right, so this is going to be a pretty much a quick update on news and prophecy. All right, you have a meeting that just happened with the United Nations. All right, and pretty much what's happening is that the vast majority of the world, all right, is pretty much banding together against Babylon, okay, the United States of America, and the Israelis, all right, behind this whole Palestinian conflict, okay, and they made a decision, okay, to where pretty much 80% of the world's nations now recognize Palestine as a state, which is in direct opposition with the Israelis. All right, now if you've been paying attention to what's going on a geopolitical stage, then you know that the Israelis pretty much run the United States. All right, so what's happening is once again the nations are joining themselves together against, okay, the United States and the Israelis, which this is found in prophecy. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and dive right into that topic. And Yahweh Ratzazam, the Heavenly Father's will is edifying to the elect. All right, we're gonna start off here in Revelation, the 17th chapter, and you see it's titled "The Doom of Babylon." All right. I'm going to go ahead and start from the top of verse 1. It says, "And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters." Okay, that great whore is talking about America, Babylon the Great. All right, now it's going to go into the characteristics of Babylon. We're going to go straight to the point and skip all the way down towards the end of the chapter. All right, and pick up down here, okay, at verse 15. All right, "And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest," okay, the waters where the whore sitteth, all right, "are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast," okay, and these 10 horns from previous chapters in the book of Revelation and in Daniel 7, the 10 horns, all right, are going into pretty much 10 vassal states, you know, of the beast empire. Okay, the beast empire, all right, being the Roman Empire, okay, the 7 heads and 10 horns, the 4th kingdom to rule upon the earth, as it says in Daniel the 7th chapter. Okay, it has 7 heads and 10 horns. The heads being the larger powers within the beast system, and the horns being the smaller powers within the beast system. Okay, but it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." Okay, the whore, Babylon the Great, that rides on top of the beast, America. Okay, it pretty much is the main player on the global geopolitical stage. All right, it says, "These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire." All right, so essentially, okay, the allies of Babylon the Great, okay, Mystery Babylon, okay, are going to turn on America, Babylon the Great. All right, and that is found in the prophecies. Okay, this is the main one though, Revelation 17th chapter. All right, remember, this is all the beast system, all right, which is the 4th kingdom that will rule upon the earth, pursuing to Daniel the 7th chapter. And the whore that rideth upon the beast, is talking about America. She sits on top of the beast. She rules over this earth. Okay, but the nations that are part of that beast system are going to turn on. They're going to turn on the great whore, and they're going to burn her with fire. So this represents America's allies turning against it. Okay, and we're seeing how this is playing out on the geopolitical stage. It's playing out because, once again, all right, the Israelis are causing a lot of trouble out there in the so-called Middle East. All right, and pretty much the whole world is rising up against them, except for Babylon the Great. Okay, because once again, the Israelis own Babylon the Great. All right, so let's go to the precept that I was talking about. Okay, where I said that this is all going to be started because of the Israelis. It tells you that in Jeremiah the 49th chapter. All right, and verse I can't remember exactly which verse it is. Jeremiah 49, and it says, "The least of the flock shall draw them out." Let me see if I can find that. Bear with me. I am going through these a little quickly. But Jeremiah chapter 49, and let's see. I feel like I'm passing it. Okay, here it is. All right, boom, I found it. So, Jeremiah 49 and 20. Okay, it says, "Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh they have taken against Edom." Okay, and this Babylon the Great is ruled over by Esau, by the Edomites. All right, and you can connect it to by going to Psalms, the 137th chapter. All right. So it says, therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Edom, and against his purpose, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he will make their habitations desolate with them. Tells you this exact same thing in Jeremiah 50. All right, I'm going to break down what this means in just a second. All right, Jeremiah 50, and it tells you almost the exact same thing. Okay, let's see. Jeremiah 50, and I forgot exactly where it's at. Here it is. Okay, it says the same thing. And in Jeremiah 49 it said Edom, but here in Jeremiah 50 it says Babylon. Okay, because once again it's the same people that rule over it. Jeremiah 50 and 45, almost exact same word for word. Therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. All right. So when it says the least of the flock shall draw them out, what it's saying is that, okay, the smallest of the Edomite nations, all right, being the Israelis, okay, the creation state of Israel, is drawing everybody out into World War III. Okay. And in this World War III, the allies of Babylon the Great, okay, that were formerly a part of the Western Alliance, are going to turn on it. And we, like I said, we already see this happening. We see this happening through Trump. Okay, a lot of the different nations in the world, when he got elected, they said we don't want anything to do with him and his leadership over America. All right, and then of course once again the Israelis and America's undying loyalty to them, even though the whole world sees what they're doing over there as G-side. All right, this is what's gonna pretty much cause the nations to go up against the Israelis, and if they go up against the Israelis, they're going up against the United States. All right, but the difference between this world war and world wars prior to this one, okay, World War I and World War II, is that generally you had the Western powers versus the Eastern powers. But this time, you're going to have pretty much America and the Israelis by themselves against the rest of the world because of the situation that's going on over there in the Gaza Strip right now. Okay, so this is the prophecies coming to pass concerning war. All right, and it also tells you this. We'll go to the book of Obadiah next. All right, Obadiah, there's only one chapter, and it tells you, we'll go ahead and read it. All right, it says, okay, boom. This is Obadiah, all right, in verse 7. Okay, it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and have prevailed against thee. And they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Okay, and I probably should have started up. All right, a little bit. Matter of fact, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, and we'll read all the way down to 7, and that'll be the video. Just a quick news update. All right, these are different things we got to pay attention to what's going on in prophecy, and all this is furthering us towards World War III. And we know who the key players of World War III are going to be. Primarily the United States, all right, and Russia. Okay, but they're just the chief of their of their sides. Okay, the United States is going to be pretty much against. The United States and the Israelis are going to be pretty much against Russia, China, North Korea, etc., etc. Iran, that's another one. Okay, Saudi Arabia, Turkey. Okay, they're all going to, and then of course, like I said, the allies of the West are going to turn their back and shoot missiles at the United States as well, according to Revelation 17th chapter. But Obadiah 1 and 1, it says, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. Okay, really they say that we're a minority, but so-called white people are actually, which are Edomites, not all white people, but the vast majority are Edomites, are actually not the smallest, but they are minority worldwide. All right, it says, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Okay, because they came from the caves, whose habitation is high, that saying of his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? So this is a characteristic of Esau. Okay, pride, okay, arrogance, boasting in might and strength. Okay, it says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, another insignia, okay, another sign of who Esau is, okay, the eagle. It says, and though they set their nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. If thieves come to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out, and how are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy, okay, and confederacy means to be joined together, have brought thee even to the border. So the men of the confederacy are turning against you. All right, the beast system is going to turn against itself. Okay, but the rest of the beast is going to turn against the main player. All right, which once again, that main player, all right, being America, Babylon the Great, the whore that rides on top of the beast. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and have prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Okay, and what we read in Revelation 17 is going to be the end result of what we see going on. Okay, eventually the nations are going to turn on America and the Israelis, and it's going to be wartime, and they're going to shoot missiles. Okay, and America, Babylon the Great, according to biblical prophecy, is going to be completely destroyed, never to exist ever again. All right, and that's pretty much it for the video. Once again, okay, a news and prophecy update. Okay, different things that we have to be on guard for. Okay, looking out for, because once again, okay, World War III is the grand finale of this society and the deliverance of the elect. So with that being said, I'm going to close it out there. Heavenly Father's will is edifying. As always, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachash. And until next time, Shalom, and abide the ball.